Welcome back viewers, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries and anyone with ears or other sound detection organs, hope you enjoy. We are continuing with Doom Guy Isekai by Angry Spider.
Chapter 18, Doom and Doomer. The soldier smashed his fists into the ground, a massive crater forming from the hit and sending dust several hundred feet in the air, and he screamed in aimless rage. Every living thing for about 2 miles raised its head at the sound and decided that they were much better off as far away from whatever it was that had caused the sound as possible. Alice winced, pulling ELD and Isabel closer. Doom. I get that you're mad about not killing Envy, but maybe this is a Doom. The crash of another smashing hit directed at the ground shook the meadow, and Alice almost fell over from the impact, her armor clanking loudly as she stumbled. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. We can regroup, get some more levels and equipment, earn some gold. Doom. She couldn't help but notice that the sound of his fists breaking the ground into tiny pieces sounded a lot like his catchphrase. It both intrigued and disturbed her on a wide number of levels. Raising her voice to a shout, she bellowed, Doom. Calm down and let me talk for a minute, will you? The soldier leaped out of the crater and crashed into the dirt right in front of her, hands clenched into tight fists and a literally visible aura of rage surrounding him. ELD and Isabel whined, backing behind Alice. She raised her hands defensively, backtracking rapidly. Okay, sorry, I won't yell at you, but you've got to calm down. We're going to attract attention that we might not. Oh, never mind, you could handle it. Sitting down, she slung her shield around and began polishing it, doing her best to politely ignore the steaming figure of the soldier. Look, we're in the overworld, okay? The least you could do is appreciate it after living in hell for so long. He stomped towards her, sparks of flame igniting and dying out around his clenched fists, and then paused. The sky was a bright, rich shade of blue, giant mounds of rippling clouds meandering across the expanse and doing their own thing. A small flock of birds were flying away from the soldier's impact site, barely visible in the distance. The rolling hills around them were lush and green, long grass waving gently around his blood-spattered boots. Gnarled trees poked up sporadically around the area, casting a calm shade over all of them. The soldier's fists relaxed infinitesimally, and with a colossal force of will, he allowed his hands to hang loose. He hadn't genuinely had a moment to just sit down and not be on the alert to kill everything still moving. Taking a deep breath, he sighed, and the resulting puff of steam hissed outward, spiraling upwards as it dissipated. Slowly, his shoulders dropped, and he closed his eyes behind the visor. Even through the filters of his helmet, the air he was breathing felt fresh. When he opened his eyes again, a flickering blue board was in front of him.
Hello, DD Doom. My week has EXP paired. I'll be going now.
The soldier blinked in alarm and seized the board, grabbing it two-handed.
Sorry. IALR already picked your new perks. They're perfect for you.
He squeezed the board tighter, even as the corners began to dissolve into separate pixels and floating away. Alice glanced up at him with mild concern on her face, still polishing her shield while Isabel licked her /themselves. Doom. Is everything all right?
Heavy armaments soul weaponry. They should boost your overall damage output. Oh, there's one more thing.
The soldier waited for the board to finish, even as it shrank further, the edges crumbling and dissipating into blue sparks. Alice looked seriously worried at this point, and stood up, pulling her shield around to her back. Okay, seriously Doom, what's going on?
Kill them all. Every last one of them. I get why you enjoy their death so much. It's because you.
The board disappeared. The soldier was left with his hands clenched, squeezing them tighter and tighter as the final vestiges of the handyman disappeared into the sky. Reaching for the strange presence that was normally in the back of his mind, the soldier felt something and tugged on it.
Doom, level 157. Class, Murder Machine. MP, 3,240. Resilience, 3,258, plus 5,590. Strength, 3,326, plus 700. Agility, 3,233, plus 100. Intelligence, 111. Charisma, 19. Luck, 8. Skills. Bloodbath, blast them to bits. Perks. Walking Massacre, Hero, Magic Armaments, Explosive Munitions, Heavy Armaments, Soul Weaponry, Genocide. Equipment. Predator Suit, Evolved X1, Blood of Thy Enemies, X4,790.
There was no comment. No irritated and mildly passive-aggressive request for him to kill a little slower. No question on why he tried to rip a demon in half vertically instead of just shotgunning it. No frustrated quip about how the soldier could interact with the boards or use them as weapons. The wrath built up with surprising speed, and the soldier's visor began to glow from the sheer fury. Alice backed away, ELD and Isabel whining loudly. Doom. What's, oh, you've got to be kidding. The soldier heard the thump of a number of people landing behind him, and immediately after that, well howdy mates, you got some noise gear. Do you mind handing it over? As the soldier slowly turned, flames sputtering in and out of existence around him and his armor heating up to a dull red glow, he saw a group of raggedy people standing before him. Their gear was tattered and torn, and their weapons were rusty from misuse. The apparent leader, the one who had been speaking, was white as a sheet. In a tiny voice, he whispered, "I surrender." The soldier didn't care. Now he had an outlet. The soldier was still unsatisfied. Several craters were located around the previously untouched countryside, each of which was smoking. During the hilariously unbalanced fight with the bandits, the soldier had discovered that soul armaments really just meant that anything he used to attack would light on fire. He was pretty sure that it meant a lot more than that, but Handyman wasn't around to explain it, so he could hardly confirm that theory. At any rate, the bandits were toast of several different flavors. Most of them were in different places, with their various body parts either dispersed unevenly or disintegrated entirely. ELD and Isabel were both eating the same victim, an expression of bliss on their fluffy faces. Alice was examining the head of the bandit's former leader, a strange expression in her eyes. Noticing him, she flushed slightly and explained, "Sorry. It's just, a month ago, I would have been freaking out at the first sign of blood. Now I'm holding someone's decapitated head. Actually, this guy seems familiar, I think we should keep it, just in case there's a bounty out for him." The soldier ignored her, stomping over to one of the only bodies with all their limbs still attached and kicking it into the far distance. He watched it vanish over the horizon, struck by a strange feeling. In the hell he knew, he had been strong and tough. Ridiculously so, in fact, but now he could probably tear a mountain to its roots if he had enough time. It was satisfying on a huge level, and he couldn't see an end to his limits approaching any time soon. But Satan, that devil had stopped him like a child on a tantrum. He wanted to grab the biggest guns he could manage, go back down to hell, and shove a barrel down his smug throat until he was out of ammunition. A faint boom interrupted his thoughts, and he summoned a heavy shotgun and aimed it in a fraction of a second, startled. Alice looked up curiously, making an odd gesture with her hands and causing the head to disappear into some sort of rip in the air. "What is it?" The soldier squinted into the distance. There was a black dot, quickly increasing in size, hurtling towards them from over the horizon. He wasn't sure what it was, but there was one way to tell. Dismissing the shotgun, he summoned the sniper rifle and raised it to his shoulder. Behind him, Alice said, "Oh, that's nice right there. What are you aiming at?" Once again, he ignored her in favor of looking down the sights at the approaching object. He wasn't sure what he was looking at, honestly. A giant red bird with flames searing through its wings without injuring it, flying straight at them with clear intent. With a mild shrug, he solidified his grip on the sniper and centered the crosshairs on the bird's head. Without a second's hesitation, he pulled the trigger. The sniper kicked, and Alice jumped to her feet. "Whoa, Doom, what is it?" Staring off at the area he was aiming at, she put a hand over her eyes, and then her jaw dropped. Oh. Oh, crap, oh bull crap with super crap mixed in and ultra crap drizzled lightly over the top, we are in so much trouble. The soldier glanced at her. What was the problem? It had just been a bird. A large one, albeit, but a bird nonetheless. Mere moments later, the bird in question slammed into the ground, digging a trench as it slid to a stop about 60 feet away from them. The soldier blinked. Instead of a gunshot through its head, its eyes were simply covered by two large black X's. A second after it paused, a person's head rose from its plumage. The young man wore tough-looking leather armor, and his short, straight black hair draped over his perpetually squinty eyes. Lightly jumping off of the bird's back, he examined it carefully. Yeah, it's going to take a while to recover from this. I take it you guys are the source of all this havoc. It's a bit violent, don't you think? Looking around, the soldier nearly jumped out of his armor. Instead of the satisfying carnage he'd wreaked, there were large blotches of fuzzy space covering the innards of the bandits, leaving only the bloodstains and panicked expressions of their previously alive bodies easily visible. It was almost as if something was censoring the damage. Swiveling back to the odd person, the soldier raised a shotgun from nowhere and promptly blasted him in the chest. With an OOF of displaced air, the young man was literally hurled over the bird he'd been riding. Alice's jaw was hanging open again. Doom. That was a hero. And not just any hero, that was Hinabi Yamada, thanks for asking. As the soldier turned back around, the young man vaulted from behind his dead bird, wielding a cartoonishly large sword. A pair of translucent wings sprouted from his back, but oddest of all, the only damage the shotgun had done to his armor was to leave it smoking gently. I don't know who you are, ruffian, but, wait, is that a shotgun? The soldier hesitated briefly. This weird young man, Hinabi something, was the first person he'd met so far who had recognized the weapons he was using. Did that mean he was from Earth too? Alice practically hurled herself between them, raising her hands in a panic. Wait, I can explain. Yamada, this is Doom. Doom, this is Yamada. He's got a perk called PG. It's what's causing the dead guys to look like that. Yamada, these guys were bandits. Doom was just taking care of them. The wings vanished as Yamada made the sword disappear, walking towards Alice with a goofy smile. Alice of Court. I've been looking all over Trackett for you. Your father is worried sick. Alice winced visibly. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he told you. Look, I'm partying up with Doom now, alright. He's a great fighter. Yamada's eyes narrowed as he turned back to the soldier. Okay, but why him? Just look at what he did to these bandits. Why, they had to have been practically defenseless in comparison. The soldier was a bit tired of being left out of the conversation, and walked forward, raising a hand to grip Yamada's shoulder. Instead, he found his hand suddenly stuck in a handshake. But of course, where are my manners? I am Hinabi Yamada. I used to be an ordinary Japanese high schooler when I pushed my crush out of the way of a grocery truck and died in the process. When I woke up, I was here, and found that this world was in dire need of a hero to defeat the Demon King. The soldier had stopped listening at manners, but his attention was instantly regained when the weird teenager said Demon King. Seizing him by the shoulders, the soldier squeezed, and Yamada grinned widely. Wow, you've got quite the grip. You must have been doing some serious power leveling. Turning back to Alice, he said placatingly, look, let's just get you back to the castle, and he stopped dead, a ridiculous expression of panic crossing his face while staring blankly at her shield. Wait, is that the Osida bulwark? And he practically choked, putting his hands over his mouth as he pointed at her armor. The Raze's ward. We thought those artifacts were stolen when you were kidnapped. How did you retrieve them? Alice flushed noticeably. I may have stolen them. His eyes widened to the size of golf balls. You stole them. Those are worth several million gold at least. You've got to take those off right now so we can clean them. A complicated expression crossed Alice's face. About that. This armor is pretty much the only thing I'm wearing. Yamada backtracked with remarkable speed. Never mind, we can wait until we get you to the nearest inn. How have you survived? We heard reports that you were met by a famous demon summoner. Once again, the soldier's attention was seized by the term, and Alice was suddenly in the unusual predicament of having two remarkably powerful individuals staring at her. Okay, look, I wanted to get away, all right. I heard hell didn't have any people or politics in it, so I... Yamada interrupted her, jumping away in shock. Hell. You've spent the past 2 weeks in hell. She shrugged awkwardly. I mean, like a week of that was trying to get the summoner to send me to hell, so it was more like a week and a half. He waved it away frantically. That's not the point. The point is... The soldier was finally done with this completely overblown teenager, and with all the strength he could muster, he backhanded Yamada in the face. It was extremely unfortunate for Yamada that he chose to take a step forward at that exact moment, and he did a full triple backflip before slamming into the ground, utterly knocked out. Alice stared at Yamada with an expression of shock, and looked up to the soldier, and then back to Yamada. You just, he. She groaned loudly, dragging a hand across her face. We are in so much trouble. The soldier didn't mind that, so long as Yamada was shut up.
End of chapter. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss any episode and do all the other YouTube stuff. Visit and support the author. All the relevant links are in the doobly-doo, and comment your opinions, good or bad. And I'll see you next time. And as usual, have a wonderful day.